Howdy, this is Ethelred, the ready to play some Civ. Yeah, so let's play some Civ. Okay, 1100. We've got William II in power over England. He's the son of William the Conqueror, and he's regarded as kind of a scumbag, harsh, despot of a dude. Okay. Ottomans want to be friends with us. Let's check that out. They're at war with Arabia. We're at war with Arabia. Not that I trust you. You know what he looks like? I just realized this. He looks like Mushroom from Mario Kart. We'll work together. Alright, thanks, dude. What was I saying? Oh yeah, William II. He also had a lot of mistresses and a ton of illegitimate children. But he only had one son who could take the throne. He had a daughter too, I think. But he had only one legitimate son. And come about 1120 or so, that son dies in a boating accident. The kid's out enjoying himself on some pleasure cruise when his boat that he's in hits a rock and capsizes and everybody on board dies. It was called the White Ship Disaster, and it led to a big mess because now William II doesn't have anyone that he can name as heir. So he tries to name his daughter as heir. I think her name was Matilda. Sejong is constructing the Notre Dame. Alright. Anyway, yeah, so he didn't have anyone he could name as heir, so he tries to name his daughter as heir. And that was in 1130. And he dies in 1130. And we'll get to what happens when he dies here in a second. So, as usual, I'm going to go try to... I want to be friends. Let's be friends. No? How about we declare war against Korea? Dang, you're really not going to do this, are you? How about I pay you off? Alright, fine. How about we make peace with... Nope, not going to make peace with Arabia. Man, the diplomatic situation is getting really stale. And we're at -1 happiness, but that's okay because... Oh yeah, because of this gem mine, which will be online in 3 turns. So we'll move you into town. And when we get machinery, we'll be able to upgrade that guy to a longbowman. So anyway, William II dies, and he had named... Oh yeah. He had named as his heir his daughter Matilda, but his nephew Stephen steals the throne. Why was there a 4 down here? I saw that. I'm going to bet that Zurich has sent some units out, and those units are dealing with some barbarian up here, and maybe they just cleared a camp, but let's go take a look, huh? Oh, look at... Jeez, yeah. That's really unfortunate. I don't want to... Oh, man. I don't want to fight you. In fact, I'm tired of this war. Can we end it? Yeah. So what was I saying? His nephew, Stephen, manages to wheedle himself into the throne, so he becomes the King of England, even though... So what, if that was his nephew? I guess his cousin? Anyway, so William II's daughter was supposed to get at Matilda, and she wages a civil war against him because he's not supposed to be the king. And that plunges England into the Great Anarchy as first Matilda and then her son Henry, right? Henry? Yeah, Henry. They fight over the kingship of England. Yeah. So... Matilda / Henry versus Stephen. They fight over England and they tear the place apart. Oh, now this is an interesting report. I have like 1/5 of the units that Sejong does, and I have 1/15 of the units that Sejong does. I've got 1/5 of Denmark's units, so that's very important for me to keep track of. All right. I wonder if we get close here if we're going to see a barbarian camp right there. Yep. So, I think we're going to go improve something up here for Hastings now. Hopefully not hit a barbarian camp right here. So Matilda and her son Henry, really by 1140, I think it's just Henry, is fighting Stephen for the throne. It's the Great Anarchy. And hallelujah, and he's even going to offer me gold. Wow, he's got to be hurting pretty bad. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate the gold. And the rule of law is completely gone in England. Every noble starts minting their own coins. Dogs and cats living together. The anarchy stinks. And during the middle of all this, despite all of the anarchy, some units from England do get involved in the Second Crusade, where they try to prop up this temporary kingdom that was constructed, a Christian kingdom down in the Levant called, I don't know what it was. I've got Edessa. Yeah, it was a Christian kingdom that was created out of thin air during the First Crusade. Second Crusade's to go try to prop it up. And the unit or two that England sends is pretty much ineffectual. And anyway, the Second Crusade fails. So that takes us up to 1154. Oh, great. And we've got gems now. Really great. So we're going to start farming. Yep, farming. So we are back in the happiness game. And look, we're going to have universities here in just a few turns. Such barbarians. Okay, what else happened? So Stephen and Henry finally agree to a treaty at Winchester where, after tons of fighting and just utter devastation, from what I understand, large portions of England were honestly devastated. And just tons of people killed and the economy wrecked and utter chaos. They do finally come to a peace agreement. And the agreement is that Stephen will be king and name Henry as his heir. And wouldn't you know it, but guess who dies right after that? Stephen dies, and Henry becomes king. So that's the way it goes. Henry goes and he cleans up some mess that happened during the Great Anarchy because Scotland and Wales, both of those, both Scotland and Wales took advantage of the anarchy to reassert their borders and become independent states. So Henry goes and he tries to reconquer some of that. He does succeed in reconquering Wales, but like almost everybody else in history, he wasn't able to conquer Scotland. Aha! There is a barbarian encampment here. We'll take care of those guys. And he also is busy. He's a busy guy. He has a lot of kids. He has 10 kids. Now, what crazy fool has 10 kids? I mean, okay, anyway. So, and that actually ends up being a real problem for him because as his kids grow up, they each want a slice of the pie. They start rebelling. They start asserting themselves. They say they want to be king. Yeah, I don't want Dad. You're not king anymore. I'm king. They have these little rebellions. They fight amongst each other for territory and holdings. And he just finds it to be endlessly difficult. To give you any idea how many difficulties he had placating his children, he conquered Ireland just to give it to one of his kids. And his kids still aren't satisfied with him. So, but that does bring Ireland into the Union. So that's like the first time there. And if you check out some of the textbooks, they show the contact between, as if it was a new thing. And maybe it was, I'm certain there was a new quality to the contact between England and Ireland at that time. But some of the manuscripts recorded at the time act as if they just discovered Ireland. Oh, look, there's this island and there's people on it. And they depict them as utter barbarians, not even wearing clothes, not able to make fire. They really go down hard on the trashing of Ireland's reputation. They want to make them look like they're barbarians so they have no rights. That way they can do whatever they want with them. In reality, I doubt personally, and I don't know for a fact, but I doubt that there is any significant technological difference or even a significant cultural difference between the two peoples, and they probably had long ties with one another, but maybe, propaganda. Okay, that brings us up to 1190. So these kids, they do tons of rebellions, and oh yeah, I will note that some historians at this point say that with Wales and Ireland, part of England, you see the beginning of the UK. And, if I'm right, also, yes, this is where English common law is created. Henry the King, now very much acclimated to England and becoming really an English king, not a Norman conqueror anymore. Keep in mind, there's never a return to the House of Wessex. The Norman conquerors, William I, and then his son William II, and then Stephen, and now Henry, they become Anglicanized. And at this point, they're basically natives from a bloodline which is alien, but they're natives now in culture completely. So Henry is just as English as any other king at this point in England. And he writes this English common law code. So now you're getting the common law, I guess, that's more or less survived intact to today, and you've got most of the UK as it exists today. Not that that will last, but you've got, at least for a minute, you've got like a snapshot of a country that looks a lot like England today. Okay, so that was in 1190. Henry dies of a bleeding ulcer. Just as... Oh, and I should say that Henry took, right before he died, Henry went off on the Third Crusade. And he took a significant portion of England's troops. Unlike the First and the Second Crusade, where it was just a unit or two, Henry really committed England to the Third Crusade. And they were one of the leaders of Europe going into the Third Crusade. Their attempt was to reconquer Jerusalem and return it to Christian control. But they failed. And then Henry died of a bleeding ulcer. All right, our first university. I feel like there are so many things that I need to do. I want to build an amphitheater, but I also need to build some trade routes. So I think I'm going to take a brief pause in things and build a trade route. And I'm also going to build a... Where's my longbowmen? Do I have them yet? No? 2 turns? Okay, so by the time that cargo ship's done, I'll be able to build that. And I also need to build workers. I should just start buying workers and things like that rather than upgrading units. Let's clear this barbarian camp. And demographics, I am back into the number 8 spot. But you know what? I feel like we're ascendant. I think that we're going to come out on top eventually. So when Henry died, Richard I took the throne. Bucharest has declared war, so what's this? Oh, and we're stolen some technology and we grew the population. So what tech do we get? Oh, there's only 2 options here. Physics and steel. Well, I have actually no use at all for steel. And I have relatively little for physics, but we'll go with physics. I mean, I could get trebuchets with physics, but I don't plan on doing any city capturing. And that speaks to the larger issue here. Okay, I got caught stealing from the Danes. I will not spy on you anymore, and I will move my spy. There are other people I can spy on. Now, this is a much more interesting deal. This is like the reverse. But no. Anyway, I do want to get my archer home. And he's going to be passing through these. I got to make peace with Bucharest. Let's go make peace with these city-states.
The press is the best instrument.
And we've got machinery now. Hey, we are turning this situation around, aren't we? I think we are. Research. I said we'd do astronomy next. Let's do it. And then we'll be able to maybe get some ships out to sail the high seas and find America. Anyway, so Richard. Checking my notes here. I was wrong. It wasn't Henry that did the crusade, the Third Crusade. It was Richard that did the Third Crusade. And anyway, the Result was the same. They failed to recapture. Jerusalem. And then Richard. Now keep in mind, this is kind of an aside here, but keep in mind that Normandy conquered England, and it became kind of like cousin states. And at this point in history, it's really more like the reverse. Like England is the center of power, and Normandy is their province. And Normandy is starting to, and this is irony for you, right? It's only been 80 years. Normandy is now trying to exert its independence from England. Now, how's that for a twist? So really, the power moved to England. I did say that William the Conqueror and his offspring were Anglicanized. So Normandy is now trying to become an independent state from England. And Richard, after he gets back from failing in his crusade, spending a ton of money and wasting a lot of lives and not achieving anything, he comes to war here in Normandy and tries to put down a rebellion in Normandy. While he's there, he's walking along. They're trying to take this little castle. It's a little tiny thing. It's like a keep. And the only reason why they're there, it's of no strategic importance. There's a rumor that there's some gold inside. And he's just there for that. He's got some sappers working on the wall. He's out strolling along, watching the progress of the sappers. And up on the battlements is a guy with a crossbow and a skillet. You can't make this stuff up. And this defender is shooting crossbow bolts at King Richard. And Richard's cheering him on, like, come on, bro. You can't hit nothing. And meanwhile, King Richard's men are shooting arrows up at this defender who's swatting them out of the air with a skillet. I'm not making this up. I'm not. Well, anyway, King Richard gets so distracted by this crossbowman up on the walls that he doesn't notice this boy with a crossbow come up behind him and shoot him in the back. And the reason why this boy did this, because the boy's grabbed immediately, and he's taken off to be prisoner, and King Richard is taken off to a tent where some guy pulls the arrow out and mutilates his arm, and the arm goes gangrenous. They bring the kid up to a dying King Richard, who's now, quickly became gangrenous, and they say, well, Your Majesty, what do you want done with the boy? And King Richard says, you know what? I was going to have you killed. But, I'm getting ahead of myself. Why did you shoot me? My back was turned. I did nothing to you. And the boy says, actually, you killed my father. And King Richard's like, oh, I'm sorry. So I was going to kill you, kid, but because I'm on my deathbed and I'm feeling generous, I'm going to pardon you and send you on in your life with 100 shillings. So they give the kid 100 shillings and he leaves. And King Richard dies. And in his place comes King John, also of the line of William. Like I said, everybody else is from the line of William. And John tries to continue on putting down this rebellion in Normandy, and he fails. And Normandy becomes independent. And also, John, what else did he do wrong besides losing Normandy? Oh, he got excommunicated by the Pope because he tried to install bishops of his own. He tried to run who was a bishop and who wasn't, and that didn't work out so well, and he got excommunicated. So John was viewed by the people as a very miserable king, just totally unskilled at it. And the nobles got upset with him. Oh yeah, here's the last bit of history I have for you. So the nobles got really ticked off at King John because he was taxing them a lot to try to win. Oh yeah, trying to win back Normandy. Like Normandy wins its independence, and King John just won't let it go. And he keeps sending waves of men at Normandy, and they're all losing, and they're dying, and they're losing the war, and there's just no recapturing Normandy, and he's using tons of money and tons of taxes, and he's upset the Pope. And so finally the nobility has had enough of King John, and they say, look, You've got too many powers. You're just screwing it up. You've got too many powers. We, the nobility, deserve more powers. And so there's a rebellion of the nobility, which King John can't hardly deal with this at the same time as everything else. So he signs a peace treaty with the nobility before he really loses his head. And that peace treaty is called the Magna Carta. And that Magna Carta moves a whole bunch of power from the monarch to the nobility. And you see new constraints put on the nobility. So Hastings is starving. And I get it. There's good reasons for this. But you're also building a lighthouse. And the worker is building a lumber mill. Which will what? Oh, +1 production? That doesn't really help. We've got plenty of production. We should be building a farm here. We can't build a farm? Why can't we build a farm here? I'm shocked. I don't think I've ever seen a tile that you can't build a farm on. Is it because I have to chop down the forest? That doesn't make any sense. What I need here is I need a workboat. That's another 120 gold. I think it's worth it. I think I'm just going to save up some gold and buy a workboat there. Oh, look. That's why it's starving, is because it was subsisting on this trade route. Well, let's keep it up. There, they're happy again. Yeah. And we have 1 happiness. Golly. The happiness from that gem mine didn't last very long. Yeah, I don't have any happiness buildings coming online anytime soon. And the population everywhere is growing like gangbusters. It is really hard for me to keep up with happiness. Probably because I have so few luxuries. By the way, I just moused over Canterbury. You see the purple outline around the natural wonder here? What's the name of that? The Rock of Gibraltar? So we'll get that here soon. The governor that runs tile growth has prioritized that. So sooner or later we'll get that. I feel like I've been playing catch up this entire game. There's just nothing I can do right now. I'm just going to click next. And I'm out of history. I have nothing else to say right now. I have no other prepared notes. There's a few minutes left. There's 7 minutes left before I'm out of my 30 minutes, so I'm just going to go ahead and play now for a little while. Oh, look at that. I could use harbors, which I want to build anyway, as happiness buildings. I had planned on going maritime infrastructure first, but oh no, but you know what? I'm only going to have the 1 social policy because I'm going to enter Renaissance in 14 turns. And then I'll be working the rationalism tree. So I better go with maritime infrastructure, even though at the time being I need happiness. Alright, another farm. And next turn, barbarians. We will avoid those barbarians. And I really need people to go to war with Korea. Who is this? Is that Korea too? Korea, they're snowballing everywhere. Siam? We need to go to war against... Nope. Okay, I'll pay for it. I know we've been over this before. I'll go to war with you. Jeez. Nobody wants to fight them. And I guess I can't blame them. Because they have a massive technological lead over everybody else. This is gonna be they're gonna be a serious problem for me. I don't know if I mentioned, but there's no way that I'm going to be able to win a domination victory here. So it's going to have to be either science or diplomacy, because it sure ain't going to be cultural. So it's either going to be science or diplomacy. And that really is, which do I get first? A strong economy or dominant science. And with Korea in the game, probably not going to be dominant science. So that stinks. Diplomatic victories, they always seem kind of cheap to me. I suppose, though, if I can finish discovering all of the civs, if that hasn't already been done, then at least I'll have a couple of extra seats. Alright, so there's a cargo ship. I should get another worker out, because I need one more worker. If not, 2 more workers. This fellow will go trade with the Danes. And now we're starting to get some gold. And I think that pretty soon here, I'm going to be able to buy a workboat for Hastings. Oh, and pretty soon we're also going to fall into negative happiness. Is there anything I can do about that? I can, you know what? With the money that I've got, I can go buy a luxury. And I would like to buy one from Genghis because I want to have, I want to have, you know what? He's not going to take 6. I want to have better relations with him is what I keep trying to say. 7. See, now that's not fair. This is a friend deal. That's just because we're friends, right? We're friends, right? I do want to become friends with him. He's at war with Hong Kong. That's not me. I need to use Genghis Khan as my sword. So I will take a bad deal with him right now in order to get him to go to war later. This warrior, or this worker, he needs to build farms is what he needs to build. Can I? No, I still can't get a workboat. Ah, jeez. Can this be a farm? I'm going to see if I can turn some of these hills into farms. Okay, somebody entered the Renaissance era. Ethiopia did. And I'm in 5th place with literacy. Honestly, I've seen worse. I can't build farms. Why can't I build? Can you not build farms on hills? I guess you can't. Wow, that sucks. I guess all I can do here is build a mine, and then I'll probably bring my worker back to London and build farms around London. Okay, what's next? 1275. Hastings has grown, York has grown, and we're back down to 2 happiness. I wish I could be happy about us growing as fast as we are. Oh, but we did get a worker. And that's nice, because we need more farms. And now we're going to build an amphitheater. And that's just a fact. I will build my harbor infrastructure soon, but I've got to get amphitheaters up. Do I have an amphitheater here already? No? Why isn't it available for production then? Library, monument, shrine, watermill. Oh yeah, amphitheaters there. Okay, great. So after the temple, I think I'm going to build a harbor here. It'll be the first of my harbors. Yep. And in York, I'll build... I keep putting off this Colosseum. Yeah, we'll do it like that. Okay, so what I need now is apparently open borders with Istanbul. Oh, thank you. It's not very often that actually works out for me. It'll be great to get that unit back. I'll use it to fortify Canterbury, I guess. Something. I feel like I'm just clicking next turn when I should be doing something. Suleiman's in the Renaissance era. Well, hey, I'm going to be in the Renaissance era here pretty soon. In fact, I need to clear my construction queues so I can build observatories because I have picked city spots next to mountains in many cases. How many turns until border growth here? 10? Something like that? Oh, yay, a great profit. Alright, so this great profit, I could spread with it, but I'm not. Even though at this point I really want to be spreading my religion to other places. I'm going to make a one-time, it's probably going to be the only time I do this, I am going to plant him someplace like, where am I going to plant him? I think I'll plant him here. And he'll be the last investment that I make in faith generation in this game. Besides, every city needs a temple. But that's as much for happiness as it is faith. And until I'm done with the rationalism tree, I'll construct a holy site. Yes. I'll be putting out missionaries to go spread. So now I'm done with my investments in faith. I can just start reaping the benefits now. Alright. Canterbury. I think you're going to do one more thing here in Canterbury. You're going to build a mine there, and then you're going to move on. And this archer is going to come down to... This archer is going to kill a barbarian camp. So I should stop. I'm playing without any history, and I'm probably going to regret that. And it's been 30 minutes anyway. And I'm trespassing in Bucharest. So, last thing I do before I quit is I'm going to buy a workboat, because I can do that now, right? Right? Son of a gun, I can't. Why am I losing gold? Oh. Because of this cargo ship, right? I don't know why I'm losing gold. I was making gold, and now I'm losing it. It must be the buildings that I'm building have relatively steep upkeeps. So... that's very unfortunate. Can I buy a caravan? And if I do buy a caravan, I can send it to Vatican City. Yeah. I think I'll do that. And that'll be an investment in me being able to make money. Because otherwise I'm just going to bleed money. So, why can't I... Oh, I can't buy a caravan. Jeez. Okay. The harbors will help. And the market will help with the gold. I'm stymied everywhere I go. The last thing I do, I'm going to try to get this guy now. Hopefully we're friends now. And you're going to... Actually, yeah, let's talk about friends. Let's discuss being friends. No? Let's declare war on Korea. How about I try to I'm done. Alright, well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please click like. If you didn't like it, click dislike. And if you want more, please click the subscribe button. Thank you very much.